right. Let's start at the start. Let's share our screen. All righty. Okay, apologies about that. I always try and start the Zoom 10 minutes early and realize it's 12:20. I would feel worse, but I think a lot of my students have made the same mistake this week. So welcome, team. All right, we have a warm-up in Canvas you can look at and start doing right now while I go through what our schedule is going to be. Nothing too dramatic. We're going to finish up our biotech and genetic engineering presentation. We are going to look at a biotech video because I think it's going to help really cement in your mind what's going on. Looks like my hair is a little crazy, so we'll fix that. A little hair and makeup at the start. Okay, so what is going to be due? We have a little bit of a weird situation with that crazy assignment 2, which is your materials and your build. I couldn't assign that in the last interim and have it go into this one, and I wanted to give you enough time. Oh, there we go. I lost everybody. People are putting things in the chat, and I don't even have my chat up. Nice background, yes. Oh, good to know. Zach's mic isn't working. All right. So everyone, if you're worried about where you are, what is happening right now, today, is you should be turning in or finishing your assignment 2, document the build, okay? All that is a photo of a list of your materials, a photo of your materials, and then 2 photos or videos of you making your build, okay? The ones that I've gotten look great. It's not too hard. That's 15 points. Then I have also put in our module. Let me just quickly show you because I find that this is a help. No, we don't need you. We need you. And here is our, no, we don't need that. Come on. Here we are. So here's the assignment 2 worksheet and submit, right? Okay, so you're going to put your description of your materials here, then a photo here, then a link to a video or just a photo here and here. All right. Please do not send me images from the internet. I have one example that are all photos of projects off the internet that are supposed to be their project. So these are not your selection photos, which is what we did last time. These are photos of your project and you doing it. All right, so I will be checking on that. What the next one is, so if you have already done your document the build, if you have submitted your materials and your 2 photos or video of you doing your build, you can move on to assignment 3. Okay, let me just go over what assignment 3 is quickly. Okay. All right, so 3, Marble Run final project and outcomes with submit. You can submit this here. Ooh, this isn't good. This is the wrong thing. All right, I will fix this, okay? Ideally, assignment 3 is supposed to be your final run and the outcome of your thing. So this is going to be the video of your run with the timing, then things like how many drops, how many diversions, those kinds of things. Let me get that in there. I apologize. I did not look at this before I put it in. Somehow it's a duplicate of assignment 2. Okay. Let's get back into, it's not here, it's here. Okay, so that is going to be Marble Run assignment 2. That is what is going to, you're supposed to be getting in for next class. If you're done with that, you can also get me assignment 3. I will fix that right after class. All right, so our goal for today is you will be assessing the differences between biotechnology and genetic engineering. We will continue to apply the 12-step engineering design loop to our Marble Run process. Okay, so right now, where are we in our design loop? Right, we have come up with our design. We are building our prototype. Okay, that's what the build is. Then the last one is going to be presenting what you have created for review by me, the stakeholder who commissioned this. All right. Anybody have questions, problems, issues? Does everybody have a marble? Is everyone working on their project? Does anyone need help?
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
when you say like 2-inch drops, so like the marble is not supposed to be rolling, just supposed to be dropping, like no matter what.
Hang on. What was that? You said the marble isn't supposed to be?
Like rolling, just like dropping like.
Well, it's just going to roll off the end of the track and then ideally drop 2 inches down to the next track or whatever, into a, funnel or whatever. It's just the idea that at 2 places in your run, the marble is going to drop at least 2 inches to whatever the next piece is.
Oh, okay.
So it could drop 2 inches into your cup at the end. That's an easy one. And then just one more 2-inch drop somewhere between the top and the bottom.
Thanks, Mr. Swift.
You're supposed to have 2 2-inch drops. You're supposed to have 2 2-inch drops, and you're supposed to have 2 diversions. Hang on. Let's look at our warm-up, and then maybe I'll go over the instructions just to make sure that everyone's got the right things that they're working on. Okay? So I think my warm-up is kind of fun today, so that's why I'm interested in it. All right, so we're going to go back. I'm going to go in here, and I made it so that I can preview it with you. Oh, hang on. I've got something I need to do to this. I don't, hang on. I'm just going to stop sharing for a moment so you don't see the sausage being made. I didn't write my question quite right. Here we go. That's it. Update, save. All right, here we are. Don't need my participants over there. Okay. So question 1, if genetic engineering is biotechnology, and it is biotechnology genetic engineering? Okay, I've got a couple ways we can work with these today. Right, these are pretty simple. So you can put it in the chat or you can sing out. And if nobody does, I have my fabulous spinner here and I will select someone. Okay, so what's your feeling on this one? False. Says if genetic engineering is biotechnology, is biotechnology genetic engineering? No, it is not. Why is that? Nahom, can you explain that for me?
Sure. Biotechnology is not genetic engineering because biotechnology is like, you're helping, like the plants grow, like, but like in genetic, like you're modify, like you're changing the plants in nature, like.
Right. So there's more to biotechnology than just genetic engineering. It's the idea that if biotechnology is a big pie, everybody loves a pie chart. Hang on, let me let barcode in. There. Genetic engineering is a slice of that pie, but it is not the whole pie. And the reason I'm asking this is this idea of what are called corollaries. You see it more in geometry, but it's the idea that a statement is not the same necessarily both ways. That if genetic engineering is biotechnology, biotechnology is not necessarily genetic engineering. You can't have it both ways. Sometimes it does work. But a lot of times it does not. Okay, question 2. What is one of the major benefits touted by the makers of genetically modified GMO seed? Is it A, that the seed is low cost? B, that the seed needs fewer pesticides? C, the seed is a natural product? Or D, that it produces identical crops? What is one of the major benefits we have heard as I am reading about genetically modified seeds? Anybody? Oh, look, there's Shepsu. See? Oh, look, and he's even late for 2:30. Shame on him. 1:30. I could only read a clock. Ah, my friend Nahom has an idea. Anybody else? Remember, do your warm-ups. You'll get full credit, all right? It's the difference of a full grade. Stephen agrees and says fewer pesticides. Yes, that seems to be, or particularly in this presentation, the main benefit prescribed to GMO seeds. I will explain this when we get through our thing. Here's my last one. This is my favorite, and it's a question I have wanted to ask people all my life. This is a true or false question. This animal was genetically modified. Is that true or is it false? Take a look at it. It's the weirdest thing you've ever seen. It's like part zebra, part giraffe, part eland, and I don't even know where those ears came from. Is that a genetically modified animal? Jessica says no. Jessica, do you know what animal that is? All right, this is just for a bonus point in my heart. Anybody know what this animal is? It is a natural animal in a natural system. It's called an okapi, O-K-A-P-I. And I have always thought the okapi was the most weird, mismatched animal I have ever seen, because it looks like it's somehow crossbred with a zebra, an eland, which is like a big gazelle, and a giraffe. It's got that giraffe neck and giraffe head, and then those ears. They're bigger than donkey ears. Okapi has a soft spot in my heart. Okay, great job. All right, let's get into this, and I will show you the place where I feel this is, showing the lie to the idea that all these GMOs are going to stop pesticides from being used. Okay, so I went a little back just to get us back in the groove. Oh, look, and there was my thing. So a person who manipulates genes is not a gene manipulator, but called a genetic engineer. The genetic engineer works with the design of genes, the structure of things like DNA, okay? These new crops have helped combat disease. Golden rice was developed using genetic engineering. This new rice provides infants in developing countries with beta carotene to fight blindness. Now, in my mind, that is a great use of GMO, of creating a genetically modified product, because you are alleviating a situation that is critical for this community. I don't know if you realize, but in small villages, if you go blind, you are basically exiled from the community. You're nothing but a burden to the community. We have to feed you. We have to provide for you. You can't work. So in small, rural communities, being blind is terrible. In the Himalayas, you get a lot of blindness because of the intense sun, the UV rays. When I worked for National Geographic, Médecins Sans Frontières, the Doctors Without Borders, they do cataract replacement surgeries. They are able, for $20, they got the surgery down to $20, replace someone with a cataract. To see someone who has been totally marginalized in their society because of their blindness receive full sight, because a cataract operation, you literally pull out the lens with the cataract, it makes your lens very cloudy, and they put in a plastic one that's clear. The moment they take off the bandages, they can see 100% perfectly for the first time since they've been blind. You can imagine how emotional that moment must be, particularly when you have been totally marginalized in your village, where you may have been a perfectly productive person, but you went blind. So these are great uses of GMO. I worry about them being used for everyday things. Okay, so here is the example that I was thinking of. Biotechnology is a major factor in increasing crop yields. It has helped to produce more food on the same number of acres. For example, biotechnology has been used to produce soybeans that are resistant to certain herbicides. Okay, does anyone know what happens to a field of Roundup resistant soybeans? How do they control weeds on a field of Roundup resistant soybeans? Anybody know? Roundup is a weed killer. It's also been found to be cancerous to humans. A lot of the plants being designed are designed to be immune to Roundup. Why is that? I am going to call on someone just because I think this is a good question. My friend Martin Guzman. Martin, are you out there? Martin? All right, I'm thinking his mic might be. Whoop. Kelly Amenti, are you out there? In TV land? Kelly? In theory, you're here. All right, well, I'm not going to keep going down the list if no one can answer. Shepso, you have to come to class on time if you're going to ask me questions in the middle of class. Don't worry, I can help you at the end. The way that you take care of weeds in a field full of soybeans that are immune to Roundup is you hose down the whole field with Roundup. The idea is the soybeans aren't going to care. Everything else is going to die. So your soybeans will have been doused in Roundup time and time again to get rid of the weeds in their field. Roundup is a cancer-causing agent in humans. I'm not sure I want my soybeans drenched in Roundup. Plus, that seems to put the lie to the idea that they are creating these GMOs to stop using pesticides. The companies that produce these GMO seeds also produce the pesticides. Bayer and Monsanto are the big producers, okay? So, all right, now we are into our new stuff. So it has also been used to develop cotton plant that is resistant to major pests. Now that was a real issue in the South. The boll weevil was devastating cotton crops. So that's very important. Biotechnology can be used to promote human health. The nutritional value of foods can be improved using genetic engineering, e.g. golden rice. Genetic engineering is based on the fact that every living thing carries a genetic code, a blueprint that determines precisely the traits that it will have. It is those traits that are used to alter other things. This code was linked to a major discovery called recombinant DNA. DNA was discussed in a previous lesson, so this is merely a short review. I'm not sure you were all here for that previous lesson. So let's go over it. The structure of DNA is a double helix, a spiral structure. If you think of a straight ladder, like an extension ladder that just has two sides and rungs across the middle, if you twisted that, that is what DNA looks like. You see here, the red and the blue are the sides of the ladder, and the molecules in between are the rungs. This is not one molecule in between, it is two bound together, okay? It consists of a jigsaw-like fit of biochemicals. Two strands have biochemical bonds between them, okay? DNA molecule may be considered a set of plans for living organisms. It is a blueprint to a living organism. It carries the genetic code that determines the traits of that living organism. Can anyone tell me what traits are? Anybody know what a trait is? It's just a bit of a weird word, and I want to make sure you understand it. Can someone put it in the chat or sing out? I can always ask someone.
A trait is like, isn't the trait what identifies them?
A trait, a better word for it, you're on the right track. A better word for it would be a characteristic, right? That makes more sense to us. I just am not sure that you know what a trait is, T-R-A-I-T. A trait is a characteristic that is determined by your genetics, okay? So my eyes are green. That is a trait. They are not brown, they are green. My hair is brown. It isn't black. That is a trait. My fingernails are rounded, not flat. That is a trait. When I hold my thumb up, it goes straight. Take a look on your own. Half of you will have a thumb that tips back like this. The others will be like mine. That is a genetic trait. They are things that genes determine, right? So scientists can use enzymes to cut the DNA chain cleanly at any point. The enzyme selected will determine where the chain is cut. Then two desirable parts can be spliced back together. This produces an organism with a new set of traits. This process is often called gene splicing, okay? Splicing is a term coming from ropes. If you had a rope that was coming unraveled, you could splice it to connect it to another rope or to make the end of it not unravel, okay? So if we think of this example here as our golden rice, think of this blue set of chromosomes as carrots, and the red one is the rice DNA before it became golden rice. If this is carrot DNA, this section here has the genes, the genetic code, or the traits to produce beta carotene, all right? This is the beta carotene gene from a carrot. I am going to cut that piece out and I am going to insert it into the DNA of my rice, okay, my white rice. And I have just created golden rice. I have created a white rice that will create beta carotene, all right? That is how that process works. This process allows scientists to engineer plants that have specific characteristics. For example, resistance to specific diseases. Like, oh, it's actually not a disease. The boll weevil's a thing. It's a weevil. It can be re-engineered into the plant. So this is the idea typically that they are taking a gene from another plant that is resistant to the disease and putting it into this plant that isn't. This could reduce the need for pesticides to control insect damage to crops. Imagine that. But they're also creating plants that can be soaked in pesticides to keep the weeds down, all right? Biotechnology has received many headlines in newspapers and magazines. If you can't tell from the way I talk about it, it is controversial. Some people think it will make life better. It certainly is making life better for those people in Southeast Asia who had no vitamin A and were going blind. So we invented golden rice. Others think we should not change the genetic structure of living things. I am more in that camp because I don't feel that we are taking the time and effort needed to thoroughly understand what the impacts of these genetic modifications are going to be to our world. People like Monsanto and Bayer have a lot of political clout, and they have been able to ramrod, particularly in the US, where people are a little apathetic, to ramrod the ability to put GMO crops immediately into the fields without any testing or knowledge of whether the drift of their DNA is going to cause a significant problem. All right, so let's look a little at the timeline here. Friedrich Miescher isolated a substance called nucleon, now known as DNA, in 1896. So that's over 120 years ago. In the 1970s, 50 years ago, technology was developed that allowed researchers to isolate and alter individual genes. Later in the decade, researchers used recombinant DNA techniques to create insulin and interferon producing bacteria. In 1982, insulin produced by this technique became the first genetically engineered drug approved for human use. In 1986, the first US patent for a genetically engineered plant was issued for a strain of corn that was engineered for increased nutritional value. So genetically modified products have only been around since 1986. That's 35 years. It's not a long time. Okay, instead of going into this summary, I am going to treat you to a video. Oh, look, there's Alexander Garcia. All right. I think this, so here, Shepsu, if genetic engineering is biotechnology genetic engineering? No, it is not. That one is false. What is one of the major benefits touted by the makers of genetically modified GMO seed? That is fewer pesticides will need to be used. And the animal was the okapi, and no, it is a natural animal. So that is false. It was not genetically modified. All right. Let me get into our module, and I am going to show us a video. Oh, come on, get out of here. All right. I was going to show us a video by that guy who's just the worst presenter ever. This one has a little bit of an accent, but she is very enthusiastic, and it is great material. I find that this will help you to differentiate between that really broad definition of biotechnology that we were using during the last semester and what we are seeing as the modern definition of biotechnology. So things evolve over time. Originally, biotechnology included almost anything related to using any organism, all right? Let's watch this and find out.
One of the great challenges in this world is knowing enough about a subject to think you're right.
Lactose-free. This is a common tag which is found on many food packets these days. Lactose, as we know, is a natural sugar found in milk. But why should we get rid of lactose? That's because many people have a peculiar intolerance towards this natural sugar. However, lactose-free products were not an option until a few years back. It's all possible now due to the advancements in the field of biotechnology that useful products like lactose-free consumables and many more can be produced. So what exactly is biotechnology? Well, it's defined as the utilization of organisms or a part of the organism or any biological process for the benefit of mankind. For example,
Okay, I was just going to say, this is our very broad definition. This is the idea that the grass in my front yard is biotechnology because they are organisms and they are benefiting me. I planted them. I want a lawn. That's biotechnology. Anything living that man uses was biotechnology in the old definition.
we know how bread is made. The dough is added with the organisms like yeast, which help in releasing certain chemicals. The reactions ultimately give us the soft and fluffy loaf on baking. Here, we've used yeast organism to obtain the product of our interest. So do we mean that bread making is a part of biotechnology? Well, kind of. Processes like fermentation are considered as a part of classical biotechnology as they include the utilization of organisms. Thus, obtaining products for human benefit like food items, medicines, hybrid crops, and so on are all possible due to biotechnology. Thus, there are numerous applications of biotechnology. Now let's have a look at a few examples to understand how wide the field is. Let's also understand how an organism or a part of it or some processes can be used to harvest important products for mankind. Let's take examples of wine production, hepatitis B vaccine synthesis, and golden rice production. Let's have a look at each individually. Now, wine is usually made from the grapes. How can grapes, which are fruits, get converted to a beverage like wine? Well, this is where the microorganism named yeast comes into play. It feeds on the sugars present in the grape juice and releases alcohol and carbon dioxide as byproducts. Here, a complete organism is used for the processing of grape juice and to convert it into wine. This was the first part of the definition. The second part of the definition states that a part of the organism can be used. So how can that be done? For this, let's have a look at the application of biotechnology in the field of medicine. Well, the emergence of biotechnology has been nothing less than a boon for the medical industry. Everything ranging from vaccines to gene therapy has raised the standards of healthy living. Now let's take hepatitis B vaccine as an example. This vaccine has a recombinant version. Previously, hepatitis B vaccine was developed from the blood of the humans who are already suffering from hepatitis B. But this was very painful for the patients as the amount of blood required for vaccine production was too high. So extracting some particular amount of blood of the infected person was very excruciating. And as the vaccine was derived directly from the patient's body, there could be negative reactions in the receiving candidate. With the development of biotechnology, newer vaccines that are synthetic in nature started getting produced. On the similar lines, the commercially available hepatitis B vaccine is now being synthetically made by utilizing a small part of the pathogenic virus. It's also known as recombinant hepatitis B vaccine. And studies have shown that getting infected with hepatitis B is nearly impossible if a person is injected with recombinant hepatitis B vaccine. Isn't this a miracle? It is equivalent. This is also known as the first anti-cancer vaccine. And why so? Because it's proven that the vaccine helps in reducing the chances of developing liver cancer. This is one example of how a part from any organism can be used for product development. Now that we've glanced at the two examples of application of the biotechnology, let's move ahead to the third one. The last part of the definition stated the use of a process. Let's take the golden rice as our third example. Is the rice made of gold? No, absolutely not. Then why is it called golden rice? Well, the rice we usually see is whitish in color. However, the golden rice we're talking about is a modified version which is yellowish in color. Hence the name golden rice. But what makes this rice yellowish and so important? It's the presence of beta-carotene in the rice. And what is that? Beta-carotene is a red-orange colored pigment which gets converted to vitamin A in the human body. We all know the importance of this vitamin. It is most essential for the development and maintenance of good vision. The deficiency of vitamin A causes vision-related issues and malnutrition. Any idea why was only rice chosen for modification? That was because the staple diet for a majority of the population in the areas affected with vitamin A deficiency was rice. So to minimize the deficiency, this variety of rice was developed. The modification of rice was done by exploiting a biological process, making it a classic example of biotechnological achievements. This variety of rice falls under the category of genetically modified organisms, abbreviated as GMOs. And what exactly are these GMOs? Do watch our upcoming videos to find that out. Till then, subscribe.
Okay. All right. I like that one. I thought that it really helped us draw that line. I have had the hepatitis A, B, and C vaccine. I used to work for National Geographic and got sent to a lot of scary places. Yellow fever, yes. I think I've been vaccinated for almost everything. All right. So now we are into working on our projects. All right. So what I need from most people are your assignment 2s, right? Sadly, my assignment 3 is a duplicate of assignment 2, and I will fix that right now. But what you're supposed to be getting me today, if you can, if not for next week, not for next week, for next class on Friday, is a description of your materials, a link to a video of you producing your run, or photos of you producing your run. I need 2 photos or 2 videos of you doing your run. The easiest way to get a link is just to drop your video in your Google Drive and then give me a link out of there. Let me show you what somebody came up with. They figured out, it's a great thing, that they could use their cell phone with time lapse. How about time lapse making your, ooh, look at, did you see that ruler? We have got over a 2-inch drop there, I know. She is building it just like her drawing too. It's really impressive. Okay. So that's what you need, is going to be a list of your materials, a photo of your materials, a link to either a photo of you making your build or videos of you making your build. All right. Anybody have questions or problems?
Yeah, I did. I had a couple issues this over the week.
Sure.
could I just have it done by today and not necessarily in class?
Oh, absolutely. No, you have until, technically this is due on Friday. The problem is I had to get this assignment across the interim. And so I can't assign it in the last interim and have it due in this one. So that's why I'm having it due here. But I realize that people might not be totally prepared to turn it in today. So if you can get it in by Friday, that is great. If you've gotten your document the build process in, all I really need is your video of your run and then, all the different measurements. Okay, so I'm gonna work on that assignment right now. Somehow I managed to delete it. I'm pretty sure I have it in my drive though. All right?
All right.
Okay,
Is the
so let
measurements
me
in
know if
question?
anyone else has questions, problems.
You say measurements. You talking about just how long like the tubes are and stuff like that, and how long does it take for it to actually run?
You'll see in assignment 3, you've got a couple things, like you're not supposed to have any section longer than 2 feet long. You need to have 2-inch drops, 2-inch drops. You need to have your marble deflected twice. Oh, that was what we were going to do. Let me just do that. All right. I'm going to go through, not the quiz. I don't need to be in this class. Let me go here. Let me just read out off the sheet what we need in our marble run. Okay, I'm going to go back to number 1. All right. Oh, actually, hang on. It's not going to be assignment 1. It is going to be written instructions for the Rube Goldberg marble run. Okay. So you're going to either have your marble run is going to fit in one of 2 categories. It's either 6 feet long or shorter, or unlimited, as long as you like. The winner is the marble run with the slowest marble roll. So the longest time it takes to get to the end of the track. All right. Your run will have at least 2 diversions and 2 2-inch drops. No segment longer than 2 feet. You'll need to video and photo your materials and construction. Video of the full run or photos. We'll process the results, make your measurements of your run, the length of the run, the height, where did you start, the time of the run, the highest and lowest angles. The one thing that is not in here is that you're supposed to have 1 toilet paper roll in there. Here we are. I should just put that in for fun. Oh, come on, why aren't you bulleting? Come on. What is this? There's a bullet. Okay. Okay. So it's basically, it needs to be either 6 feet or less, and it will be a 6 foot or run, or it's unlimited. You've got 2 diversions and 2 2-inch drops, no sections longer than a foot, and 1 toilet paper. And at the end, the marble is caught in a cup. Do not use a roll of tape. The marble must roll continuously to the cup. The time is from the marble drop to the cup. You drop your marble and gravity does the rest. You cannot have any power assists in your marble run. Your machine must be appropriate for school, and ideally you need to provide the tape. Okay? All right, I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and see if I can find assignment 3. I'm figuring that would be helpful. It's a little annoying.
Wait, question about the 2 feet. Did it say it can't be like the whole thing can't be no longer than 2 feet long?
No piece of track can be longer than 2 feet.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about that. Okay, I have something fun for the last 5 minutes. This was introduced by another teacher to me. It's a question, how do we want to grade the final project? How do you guys want to grade our final project? I'm putting a link to a Google Doc asking you if you want to grade it for completion, for accuracy, for creativity, or a self-reflection evaluation, or if you have another idea, you can put that in there. So I'm not saying what we're going to do, but I wanted to see how everyone is thinking they would like to have this graded. Will it be graded for completion? If you just build your track, you get full points. For accuracy, that you built the slowest track, that's going to get you the highest points. Creativity, it's the most interesting track you've ever seen. Or just you writing about your experience doing this project. Or door number 4, something I haven't thought of. Okay, here's the link in the chat. If you want to give me an idea for how you'd like to see this project done, I will turn on my sharing and we can see it populate. I think. Oh, look, I have 3 responses. Here we go. Ooh. You're all saying for completion. We have 6 responses. Oh, somebody's thinking creativity. Somebody else is thinking completion. No self-reflection evaluation, guys. All right, we got 10. Come on, let's see if we can get 20 responses in here. It seems to be the battle is between creativity and completion. Oh, look, self-reflection has made an entrant. Self-reflection is getting higher. These are possibly people who don't think they can make their track. All right, we got 17. 3 more, baby. Let's get it to 20. Oh, there's another one. We're almost there. I need 1 more. Ah, creativity got another. All right, awesome team. This is fun. All right, so I'm gonna write up our lesson 3. It looks like I think we'll get, basically 66% of our score will be for completion. And then, 30% will be creativity. All right. I think that seems like how we're working it out. And if you need, if for some reason you got a terrible score, I'll let you do a self-reflection to raise your score. How about that? Look at that, 31 responses. You guys are amazing. Okay, how does that sound to everyone? You can put it in the chat. Does it make sense that we'll try and grade it? 2/3 on completion, 1/3 on creativity. Barcode says that sounds good. And we'll keep the caveat that if for some reason you get a terrible score, you can do a self-reflection and make up the points. Okay. So say for some reason you can't make your marble run, your dog eats it, or you don't have any materials. You can write me a sob story explaining your tale of woe. It shouldn't be longer than a page. But we'll do, oh, look, somebody feels for accuracy. We got, oh my gosh, we got everyone in the class. That is so great. We're going to have a separate prize for accuracy. I will try and figure out something fun. All right. So whoever wins the slowest roll, we're going to have to figure out some fun prize for that. All right, guys, we have 1 more minute left in class. I will work on creating our assignment number 3 with these rules, and we're going to have a good time. Somebody's running away early. I swear. We're supposed to stay here till 20. We're all counting. I'm looking at the number too. It's not going away. Anybody having fun making their marble run? I've seen a couple that look really cool. I've seen people using blue tape to make sure they don't peel the paint off their walls too. Thank you. Your parents thank you. We are done. Complete. You may go. Thank you so much. Get those runs in.
Bye, Mr. Swift.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Mr. Swift.
You bet. I picked the field of flowers to try and make us feel a little sunny and bright on a gray day.
Yeah, it was a nice background.
Thank you. I work hard at it.
Yeah, I wish I could live there somehow.
Oh, yeah. I think that's Holland, is where that is.
Yeah,
I
it
have a
looks good.
cousin who's a photographer.
Yeah, it is really good. I like the clouds though.
Yeah.
Really perfect. All right, Mr. Swift, have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Perla, Juan, Kelly, Alexander. Perla, Kelly. Guys, you should set an alarm if you're going to go away. There's somebody. Kelly, Perla. All right. Au revoir. Bye.